Hi everyone, meteorologist Jacob Wycoff, joined by our executive weather producer, meteorologist Terry Eliasen. Wanted to hop on here and talk to you about a couple of weather things going on. This time of year, it's an age-old question. To rake or not to rake?
Yeah, it's funny. I always rake, but I think it really depends on your situation, right?
Yeah.
If you're like an HOA, let's say, and you have to rake,
Yep.
right? There are some folks in that situation. I have a backyard that's fenced in, and if I don't rake, I literally will have 2 to 3 feet of leaves in my backyard.
And then no grass the next year.
Yeah, and I think you have a similar situation.
I do have a similar situation. A lot of big maple trees in the backyard and pile up the leaves.
Right.
You want to take care of them too. At least I do, for the kids.
Yeah.
They like jumping at them.
But I think it's interesting that, you know, and a lot of folks are coming around to the idea of, what if I don't rake? What if I just leave the leaves? Or what if I mulch them? And there are a lot of good reasons to do so.
Yeah, so the leaves themselves provide a pretty good natural mulch. If you took the lawnmower and mulched them up a little bit and they are able to get into the soil, they're actually really good nutrients. They help them help the grass maintain some of the moisture, the soil maintain some of the moisture, especially in times like we have right now with it being so dry. Any little bit helps. Yeah,
and you could also, it's number 4 on this list, but you could also, you know, if you want to rake some of the leaves into the garden beds, some of your, if you have shrubs or perennials that you want to keep alive year after year, they do provide good insulation for things like that. So, you know, from the harsh winter, it's almost like putting like a little blanket on them, blanket of leaves on the.
I like blanket of leaves, yeah. The other thing to think about is, environmentally speaking, a huge amount goes into landfills. And when you have that sort of amount, we're already running out of landfill space in Massachusetts. When you add that sort of waste on top of it, it's somewhat unnecessary.
Yeah, and you might not think, now again, this is town to town. Some towns actually have days where you can bag the leaves, put them out front, and they take them. But unfortunately, you don't really know where they're going. I mean, some towns are very good about actively recycling, having
composting,
exactly.
or something, yeah.
Other towns, I wouldn't be shocked if we did a little research and found out that these bags of leaves are going right in where the trash goes.
Right.
And that's obviously bad for landfills are already filling up around the state. We're already having issues with that. And bags of leaves certainly don't help that issue at all.
Absolutely, yeah. So we also have to, you know, ask the question, how much do these weigh, right? So one tree, when we look at that, it can drop about 200,000 leaves.
As I read this, I'm already thinking, you know what? Maybe I will leave them on the ground.
Yeah. Terry, here's your assignment for today. Yes. Go and count every single leaf in your backyard.
I wouldn't doubt the 200,000. I'm surrounded by leaf trees, and that does not sound outrageous to me. But of course, each leaf doesn't weigh that much.
Right. It's only about a pound for 360 dry leaves.
Right. And you figure an average pile, maybe about 360 leaves in a pile. So, so each pile you're picking up, maybe a pound.
A couple pounds, yep.
Okay. So if you do the math, then if you know, 360 leaves to a pound, one tree, about 550 pounds of leaves. This is like an average mature oak tree.
So you're saying we should exercise, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that whenever you go out raking, and I did a lot of this last weekend, you can forget the gym that day, essentially. Yeah. No need for the gym, because let's say you're picking up leaves off from 5, 6, 7 trees. You're lifting thousands of pounds of leaves.
Yeah, a ton of leaves, literal ton of trees. And then if you add some water on top of that, that can multiply the weight pretty quickly.
As much as 4 times. So now I know it's we don't have any water around, so that's probably not going to be an issue this weekend, but maybe a little bit of water coming in the next couple of days. But so there is so I don't know if this is good news or bad news. Maybe it's good news if you're planning on raking this weekend because you're going to get a workout, or maybe you're looking at this and saying, I'm going to try to leave them on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you mentioned some of the rain, the lack of rain we've been seeing right now. Do we have, all right, so should we do a little yard work? I think tomorrow is fairly nice when it comes to the wind. Big question is, will the wind pick up into the afternoon? Thursday's going to be dry and warm, but it's also going to be pretty breezy. So if you have the blower, it's just going to be blowing it around like it's one of those big money grab machines that you see. It.
Well, this was me last weekend. I put them all on a big tarp. I went into the house for a minute, come out, and like they're blowing
scattered.
Blown. So the wind is almost the most important part of this thing. You know, next to having a soaking rainfall while you're driving.
Right. Absolutely. And we could see a little bit of rain as we go into Friday. So So we'll be watching to see how that plays out. But then heading into the weekend, we're going to be on the cooler side, lighter wind side. Yeah.
Really no excuse this weekend not to pick the leaves
to take
up.
care of
Unless, of course, you're just going to mulch them. And
Yeah.
that's okay too. But